Hi guys. So I have a couple of tips. Stretching. When I stretch, I tend to use stretches built into what I'm already doing in my life. I don't necessarily take a whole hour to do stretches or do yoga. I find I'm most successful at stretching when I do it when I'm already doing something. For example, if I'm in the shower, I always try to stretch my pecs. I put my arm out on the shower and I turn on the shower wall and turn away. And so I try and build stuff in throughout my day. Before bedtime, I do a lot of passive stretching, relaxed stretching. And sometimes we can be really, really tight in certain muscles. And I think what I'm going to do is as issues come up for clients, I will make a video as they come up. And the main problem area for people this week happened to be hamstrings. So I wanted to give you a couple of options for stretching your hamstrings. It can really tighten up your low back, decrease mobility. And so having loose hamstrings can really benefit you. And I find sometimes it's not the most comfortable thing to stretch because they can get so tight. So I have a couple of suggestions for you. Mason, this is Mason. Dakota's gonna help me. We'll see. But one thing I do use is props. So this is just a sarong that I have tied together at the end to make a loop. And I use this a lot, and I will probably make lots of other videos showing you how to use this. One thing I find for people when they're trying to stretch their hamstrings is that they round their back a lot. Let me move this blanket, right? You go to lay your hamstrings, or these muscles behind your leg. They attach from below your knee and they attach to the base of your pelvis. A lot of times we want to round our backs when we're trying to get to our toes. And doing this in bed is super comfortable, but it kind of like adds to that roundness, right? One thing you can do to help with that is to sit on a blanket. Whether you're on a bed or flat on the floor. I tend to do this while I'm in bed because it's cozy and it gets me ready to sleep. Right? Right. So if you sit on a pillow, it kind of helps, or a blanket, it helps a little bit, lifting your back up. I find I'm still kind of rounding forward, so I'm gonna flip this over even more. Go even higher than this. Can even use a pillow, whatever you have. So now it's really nice and thick to sit on. And now, there we go. I feel kind of like I can stretch. Now, one of the important things about stretching your hamstring is to not bend from your low back, but think about coming straight up, right? And bending from your hip forward. That's not gonna give you a lot of movement. We're gonna get tight. See, my knees are already starting to come up. So the one thing I do to kind of aid in that, the more comfortable you can get in the position, the better the stretch. So you can use your sarong to loop your legs, and this kind of allows you to get really nice and straight. I'm even actually kind of pulling back, and that lets my back get nice and straight, lets my legs get nice and straight, lets me drop my shoulders down. If this is tiring because you're pulling, you can wrap like this, so you can really, and then kind of breathing into it. And the more I want to go down as things start to loosen, the more I can wrap my hands. I kind of go inside and grab onto the outside. and just kind of breathe. I don't really put a time limit on this. Oftentimes I like to wiggle a little bit. I'll wiggle my hips, keeping in mind I started to slouch, keeping in mind, keep your back nice and straight. I'm striving to have a comfortable pull. Oftentimes when I used to stretch, I'd stretch too far, I'd push it. But now I just take my time and I let my body release first. Instead of pushing through the stretch, I follow the stretch. I'm starting to feel a little bit more movement through my hips, and I feel like I'm coming forward a little bit easier. The pressure is coming off of my hamstrings. So I'm just gonna kind of inch forward even a little bit more, and then I'm just gonna hang out until I feel like the tissues have softened. I'm also internally imagining the muscles pulling apart and lengthening as the feeling happens. The other thing you can do is to kind of pedal your legs a little bit. That feels really good. Get a little warmth in there, making sure I'm nice and straight, right? And for today, this may be all as far as I can go. I'm finding as I'm sitting here and I'm really paying attention to what my body feels, I'm feeling tightness right behind my left upper calf, kind of in the area on the side where my hamstrings attach. So I'm just gonna kind of take a minute and think about when I pull a breath into my body, that it's kind of flooding into that area. And then as I exhale, that I'm kind of exhaling that tension out. So that is one way you can do it. If you really want to get relaxed about it, you can lay down. I really like doing it this way because then you can kind of put your leg in different positions. Thanks for the kisses, Mason. So I'm gonna just lay with this underneath my hips. I've got my sarong. I'm gonna hook it around the foot that I want to work, and then you've got control over your leg. And like I said, the more relaxed you want to be about it, come inside your sarong and kind of find the spot that's comfortable for you. Right there is my happy spot. I'm going to think about extending this bottom leg nice and straight to kind of keep my pelvis nice and aligned. And you'll really feel kind of sinking into my hip. I'm not trying to lock my knee, so I'm having to be a little bit aware. Hey buddy, thanks. And just kind of hang out. And I'm gonna breathe. And this lets you have a really nice straight back and really just focus on the tighter hamstring, which today I felt like is my left one. And you just breathe into it. And as it releases, I just pull it a little bit more. Breathe in for 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. And breathe out for 4. 4, 3, 2, 1. Breathe in for 4. And out for 4. I like to count backwards and forwards because it really turns off your brain. And once I feel like there's less of a stretch and the muscle is relaxing, pull it forward a little bit. The other thing you can do, if you want to get the inside of your leg, these adductor muscles, which can be quite tight, I'm wrapping this around my hand like this. And I'm going to use Mason as my anchor, but I can take it straight out to the side to where I'm comfortable. For this, I'm actually going to drop the leg down that way a little bit because they're tight. So do whatever is comfortable. If you can pull this off straight off to the side and it drops and you're comfortable, no problem. And this blanket underneath my hips is really helping to stabilize and make me not feel like I'm falling out of bed. I can just hang out and let it drop. If it feels too intense, let the leg go down a little bit. That feels better. I was letting it be too intense. In fact, I'm gonna let it drop even more. Whew, I got really, really tight adductors today. All right, the other thing you can do, if you want to get the outside, go the other way. This one tends to be pretty tight. I'm gonna put this arm out just for counterbalance, and then let my foot drop the other way. Thinking about keeping my pelvis nice and square. I'm not lifting my hips off of the bed at all, just letting it rotate from my hip, keeping it nice and straight. And you'll really feel it through maybe your IT band, those outer lateral hamstrings, and parts of your glutes. And then I'll switch sides and do the other side. Mason, I'm stuck. I was so cozy, right? So that is kind of a nice leg stretch to do at the end of the day, right? Yeah. So I hope that was helpful. You could use, if you don't have a sarong, you could use a towel or a tie, a belt, anything that's going to give you length in order to let you lift and straighten your spine. So I hope that's helpful, and I will keep adding material as things come up, and I'll talk to you guys soon.